Okay, thank you very much, Francine, for the introduction. Welcome everybody to today's webinar in Business Central. Let me start sharing my screen. Okay. Today we're going to have a session that is going to take 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. And welcome everybody. Let me start sharing now my screen as well. Very good. And you can ask me at any point any question. We're going to just review part of the replenishment process that we call the planning part with the requisition worksheet. What it does, how we can ask for items or planify them in advance and how to use it. All right, so the idea today is once all item planning options are set, you can use the requisition or planning worksheet to have a Business Central, create planning suggestions, and this module explains how to use the options to calculate a plan and how to interpret action messages. So we're going to investigate how to use this journal for the first time. And if you have experience with the replenishing or not, well, this is the webinar where we're going to begin from scratch so we can understand how the replenishing worksheet and the replenishing process overall works. And then first, we're going to calculate a plan from the requisition and planning worksheet. According to the agenda, we are going to enter the planning time period, understand the action messages, change the planning flexibility of our replenishment line, and check the order tracking of a planning line. Okay, so very good. First of all, we're going to start with one action, that is a plan calculation. And what it is? Basically, we have a planning system here in Business Central. This is driven by anticipated and actual customer demand, such as forecasts and sales orders, right? Not necessarily we always will be needing that. We're going to check it, but we're going to run the planning calculations, and the application will suggest the user take specific actions that may include getting supplies from vendors, assembly, or production departments, right? Or make it transfer from the warehouses. Suggested actions could be to create new supply orders, such as purchase or production orders. If supply orders already exist, the suggested actions could be used to increase or expedite the orders to meet the changes in demand. So the planification could be used also for manufacturing. If you have a manufacturing, let me verify the people who will be checking today's webinar. Okay, and well, as well, the process is going to review what is the demand that we have in any company, and after that, going to check. Okay, I need to supply with more purchases, but as well in conjunction with manufacturing, it could tell us how much to produce or assemble. So for us, it's all about creating the specific documents to get our items, our materials, or specifically only inventoriable type of items, all right? Now, another goal of the planning system is to make sure inventory does not grow unnecessarily. If demand decreases, the planning system will suggest to postpone, decrease the quantity for, or cancel existing supply orders. Okay, the second point is because once we get into the planification, and you might think, well, the replenishing process will always start replenish at the same rate. Let's call it that way. That's an assumption that many people who start replenishing sometimes has, and this is because of you might be think the replenishing might be cumbersome, but could give me more problems or more headaches or a bottleneck in order to complete my supply chain with some specific automation like this, right? But that's not the case. Actually, Business Central can help us to say, hey, stop for now, or let's reschedule a purchase or a transfer or a production order for later in time. So there's always a risk, yes, to get more inventory. Just to mention it, there's always that risk if you don't know how to planify it, due to the fact that you might purchase at once more than you could actually handle.
That's why we handle as well inventory levels. So we could say I need this much of any item, but then later we are going to learn that we also should make some specific configurations to say yes, I might even be able to purchase more, but this is the quantity that I'm able to handle. Okay, that's what we might call the maximum inventory. And we could say that at least we need a safety stock, this minimum amount always at least. And between the safe or the maximum, we might be then having a bandwidth, right? Where we can just actually work with Business Central. That will be requiring some experience on your side, but that's the idea. We need to start learning at some point how to actually work with the planification. And at last but not least, planning parameters that the user sets for an item or a group of items control which actions the planning system will suggest in the various situations. The planning parameters are defined on each item card to control when, how many, and how to replenish items. Okay, so it's not about the time or how much, but as well how to replenish. I mentioned you that we might purchase directly an item from the vendor, or in any case, if we have inventory in other places, we are going to be able to indicate that I will be transferring from one specific warehouse to other warehouse the specific items I will be then replenished. So this concept or starting, in order to start, this is how the calculation plan looks like. And this is a part of the requisition worksheet. We're going to see in action in a second. But first, we're going to review what we need in order to request for the first time the items to be supplied. So we need to open the requisition worksheet that we're going to check. And we have one function that is called a calculate plan. Okay. If you see the right side, we have some fields in yellow that for us will be mandatory. First of all, we are going to set up the dates that a Business Central is going to use in the future to start replenishing, I mean in the past. So we have a starting date saying, okay, look at this time, look at, this might be, in my example, maybe all 2021, right? Look at this time, all the specific demand that we have. Maybe you have sales orders or production orders, batches to complete in the production that requires a specific numbers of tons of raw material, let's say. So these dates will review, okay, maybe the manufacturing process requires to make 5 tons of finished product. Well, for the last week. So then we might need to verify in this example how much it's indicated to accomplish 1 week of production, right? The same goes for purchasing. We could use forecasts, okay, as well, but this might require some experience, because for that you need to, we don't have a forecasting tool in Business Central. This is not automated. We have just, let's say, a repository of information, demand, or historical data from the last year, maybe, where you could then, this is the sales forecast, a standard sales forecast that we have in Business Central, and you manually or with Excel need to import that information into our sales forecast, where you could then use it to say, okay, maybe I don't know specifically the inventory levels for this period, but I could use the historical information from the last year, which would be used now as forecast with some adjustments that you should do manually, right? But just pay attention to the forecasting tool. It's a manual tool that you shouldn't need, right? And it's not the actual, for instance, we also have Cortana. That is another, we're gonna have more Cortana webinars in the following weeks, right? And that is actually looking at statistical information to provide a forecast. But in this case, it's what the user should be including in a sales forecast manually, knowing the user, the historical information, maybe a third-party forecasting tool, or maybe just taking from even the Business Central or the third-party software, if we are migrating to Business Central, some historical information, and well, use it to at least know what would be the options that, according to last year history, we might need to purchase that. And as a suggestion, we're gonna get it. Last, if you look at the bottom of the screen, we have the fields where and location filters. So you could filter specific items if needed. Maybe you are going to be focusing on those items that are introducing that do not have too much information, or you are not an expert. A vendor might offer you a good item to sell and so on. So you verify historical information, but maybe it's not completed, right? Or maybe you want to just filter for a specific group of items, right? And by location, well, the idea is that we replenish preferably first some location by location, so we could have a better management of the items to receive and not everything in one wave. If you know what I'm saying, replenishing might consist of, first of all, replenish the nodes, or let's say that we have a network where we have a central warehouse and we have stores or smaller warehouses, right? So let's replenish first those locations, smaller locations, because we would like to have first those items that you might sometimes be picking, or if you work with within a supermarket, you would like to, why not by area replenish, right? Group of items, remember, or maybe location, the frozen area, okay, that we might require a separate replenishing process, so you don't get specific items just stocked in the reception area, right? These type of items require a specific type of treatment with expiration date, so they need to be received immediately. So we just at some point might replenish this type of items separately, right? So this is how we work with the calculation plan function, and we are going to see what to do, how to analyze the suggestions, okay? We have all these options that we see in this table. The analyze the planning suggestion column give me different options: action message, new, change quantity. And you might be thinking, okay, so these are the options. Here we call them action suggestions, all right? Or action messages. But this you can see by the actual message, create a new order, right, or change the quantity. This is because you might have people that might be purchasing already some specific items, and then the stores or the warehouses already request something manually, right? But at the same time, we need the system to back those orders, and we are not going to then allow that any user just purchase alone anymore, right? Even though they can still create their purchases, well, at some point, if they are, maybe we are ordering the same item in our requisition plan, but then another user creates separately a manual purchase order, what we would be doing there? Well, Business Central is going to review the purchase orders that were created, and if necessary, deduct or increment the quantity for the items. And then, of course, the rescheduling part, right? So yes, we might have a requisition that might require a maximum inventory to have always, but at some point, Business Central verifies how many units we have sold from the items we should have, and if they are not being sold by any reason, well, the reschedule might then be applicable for these documents, right? And of course, well, at last but not least, we could cancel. This is because, well, specific documents might be duplicated sometimes. The same, maybe a user is creating a manual purchase order. He have already thought that some items might be required, let's say in the 1 unit of measure that is not being used to purchase normally, right? And that's another good way of using replenishing, because your vendors are going to supply specific items with specific characteristics of the purchase order, with the, let's say, pallet or the unit of measure for wholesaling activities, right? But a user might think, okay, I just need units, right? So that will be then canceled at some point. If that's not correct, we could cancel orders that are duplicated, so we do not order twice the same or some specific lines. and then we just create a whole new by canceling better. And that's a complex algorithm where we would be saying, okay, we have already purchase order that we could leave because they will be ordering already the items that I want. That's not a problem, but if in any case, if we are duplicating or if we have a better recommendation for the planning calculation plan a function, then it might also cancel orders that were previously created. Okay, what else is important to learn? We have the planning flexibility field, okay? On a supply line to indicate whether an existing order can be changed by the planning system. The field has the following options: unlimited and none. All right, and this is for as well the purchasing team, right? The flexibility consists of a specific field where we can indicate, okay, I have created my purchase order, but I really need these items. And I understand that the replenishing procedures might might review the inventory levels that we're gonna check, or might they review the sales demand or the purchase order or the sales orders or the customer or manufacturing demand. That's fine. But for any reason, I have a special requirement. We call them special orders. Sometimes they could be coming from a POS, or you could create them especially for a customer that is requesting you a special item with specific characteristics, right? That sometimes happens, or urgent, or drop shipping. This means that we are not going to be stocking the inventory, but this is so urgent that the vendor is going to send the purchase to the sales order or to the customer addresses, right? So for that type of special orders, let's just have this idea. We can, for any reason, then just protect our purchase order, so it's not going to be affected when the replenishing wave calculation process just becomes active. So in this way, we can just continue purchasing normally, manually, like nothing happens. Okay, so now before moving to the plan policies, let me just open now Business Central and let me show you what we mean here. Okay, first of all, we have our list of items that we are, and in order to learn the replenishing process, I'm going to open the item list just to explain and to identify which items are being replenished, and then how to start configuring with these ideas to see the requisition worksheet. Very good. So I have some items that I need to replenish. Look at this, there's my thing now. Okay, I have items like a Coca-Cola and that are not perishable, but here look at these food items, all right, well, that I need to track that they might need a expiration date, I don't know, maybe 1 week at most. Or other, if I treat them, especially in one single purchase, I should buy all my meat. All right, just with the definition of what we have learned from the plan calculation. Let's treat them separated. Okay, now, of course, I might have different vendors, right? For all these perishable items, and some vendors for the Coca-Cola. Okay, rarely we would have vendors that actually sell me the same items that are with different nature, right? So as purchases, that's the first thing we know. Majority of time, right? Nature meaning that we have expiration dates, fruits, vegetables, right? This type of items, meat, of course, right? Or frozen items. We rarely have an ice cream store selling us Coca-Colas only, right? So we can identify that. And also it's important now to define, okay, I might need to work with a replenishing process or wave for my beverages that I have in the top. Second, I will be working on a weekly basis with the meat, okay, because the product by itself doesn't allow me to go further than what we started to order this item once again. So think about that. And then we're going to start the replenishing configuration for these two items. I'm going to start with the Coca-Cola. Very good. Now, I have the Coca-Cola that I always sell in cans. That's good, but it happens that I don't really work with that. It's just for the stores where I sell, or well, if I'm even working with the wholesaling type of sales as well, even I have the cans because I need to break down the bulk, so that will be important. But if that's not the base unit of measure, you can select it, but first you need to configure your unit of measures. So that's what we have for the item. So I have the can, but then I sell K6, and then I always have, I stock and I purchase my inventory in packs of 36 cans. So let's think, and just as an example, that I also have pallet. Okay, the pallet might have, let's say, 119 units. Okay, so it might be 3 packs, right? 118 cans, of course. Think about it, right? Now, for me, and for now, this is the first aspect I need to understand that I will be needing. I need to have conversion of the unit of measures, because guess what? The purchasing process will verify later the units that we need to purchase. And once we understand, for instance, I might be only purchasing pallets, yes or yes, always. So I need to order in the purchase order to the vendor that I will be purchasing pallets, okay? Basically, that's the purchasing unit of measure, and we need to indicate it. And of course, we have one tab that is called replenishment, okay? That has to do with our requisition worksheet. I want to say that this item will be purchased, will be a manufactured either with a production order or with assembly orders. So you think what you're doing with this, in this case, I'm not Coca-Cola, so I'm not just going to purchase it from a seller, reseller, and that's the first thing I need to do, okay? Remember that the type of item that you do, in this example, I'm going to purchase it. The meat, if I'm a supermarket, I might be producing it, right? Even with an assembly order. So for the purchase, the lead time calculation will be 1 day. And the vendor, just inserted in this section, will be the wild word importers. And the vendor item number, let's say that will be CO 999999, and that's it. Very good. Okay, look at the purchase unit of measure. Here, I need to indicate that I buy pallets. Okay, so in the first concept of the replenishing, we are saying where we purchase, how, which is the desired unit of measure, where to purchase my Coca-Cola, right? So that's on one side. That's the first thing we need to do. And then I'm just going to go to the meat or any of these perishable items. Let's say that I don't have sirloin. And this I would like to purchase as well. But this might be either, let's say if you're in a supermarket, you might need to use the assembly procedures, okay? The assembly procedures then will be used to generate it's gonna use the assembly or light manufacturing model to take the raw material to convert it into the steaks, let's call it that way. And as well, that is going to review what we might call the expiration period, which is in this case 15 days, okay? Even if it's frozen, only 15 days, this is a good quality meat or something like that. And then you might then use it before 15 days. How do we manage for this type of items that is accomplished? Well, we have what we call the item tracking code. Okay, for us who are learning Business Central, we can use lots as a tracking. So whenever you purchase, we mark the item with the lot number. So we are going to track different features. Okay, like let's say the lot specific tracking manual expiration as an example. So when we purchase, we will need now to say, okay, this purchase, this item, this meat that I have now in my hands, when I receive it, only can be here in my warehouse for, in this example, only 15 days. Then I'm going to use the lot all expiration date with the lot number you might need to assign the specific lot numbering. Okay, let me just give you an example. This is going to use the number lot or LOT 001 to 9999. Okay, you decide what, and we can just configure the specific lot numbers that you use for different type of items if you want, so you can differentiate it, right? And in this example, I'm going to use the lot number 00 to 999 to mark my item whenever I purchase. And look at this. Here you can indicate the expiration calculation. Okay, and you might be guessing, okay, that's fine, I like it, that this is going to help me, but is this going to be restrictive or this is just a warning? Well, that's up to you, because for us in the lot numbering configuration, okay, look at this option, we can indicate that the lot number is strict for expiration control. This is the strict expiration posting restriction. We might have different setups for this, okay, like introduce the lot number whenever I have an inbound transactions. For instance, the purchase, I want the purchase, so let's just mark it, no problem. Then the sales, do you want to track your sales? In this case for inbound, this is because we might have as well a sales return orders, right? And look at this, you could do positive and negative adjustments. Of course, we explained that in the last webinar, and actually assemblies or manufacturing orders. Inbound means that when you are transforming from the work in progress, your raw material, into finished products, well, that will be an inbound item, new item that you are introducing to your warehouse as a finished product. That's why it's inbound. And then you can as well mark it. This is the day where I manufacturing this let's say ribs or steaks, right? And then I have 15 days to sell it. Otherwise, you need to take it from the supermarket or the stores, as an example. The same happens for outbound transactions. Okay, you can mark it for sales, but for our procedures for expiration and for the replenishing, that will be good. Just with lot numbers, control the 50 days, and well, that is also super important. Remember that as well, we might need to mark our item with the different unit of measures, right? So I have the pack with 10 steaks and the pallet where 50, this just be kilograms in this example. So I sell kilograms, all right? But you should be aware that this might be just raw material, right? Or the finished product of a whole, I don't know how you, a cow that you purchase, something like that, right? And then you have another item that is your raw material. Okay, but at this point we are purchasing this in kilograms, and then we slice it into or packages that, or pallets that contain kilograms of meat, and I sell kilograms, okay? That's important to define the unit of measure. Very good. Nothing else unless you want to now control in different warehouses this type of item. And for that, I'm going to use the stock keeping unit concept. Let me just show them to you. I'm going to go to the list of stock keeping units. Well, I have one for the East warehouse. The stock keeping unit is going to tell me how to purchase or how to treat my item in different warehouses, okay? Let's just give an explanation. For the same Coca-Cola item, I'm going to select one location code from the list, okay? I have 4 different warehouses. And for the East warehouse, what I do, if I go once again to the replenishing tab that is repeated in the stock keeping unit card for the item, I'm going to indicate, hey, if I purchase, I also purchase in this warehouse, okay? But look at this, for this are 15 days. And for this vendor is going to supply, which is the fabricant. So it's another vendor for that warehouse, right? You get the idea. So I'm going to indicate in different warehouses is different routes or ways of supply the same item, because I might be working differently in different warehouses. And not only that, also the cost could be, of course, different, okay? Because you now have a negotiation with this vendor, and then you might be verifying that the cost that might be different here, well, is suggested to be purchased. Of course, the actual cost comes from the purchase order when I purchase only for every purchase I do. But I'm saying that here I purchase. So why not to say that, okay, if you are going to purchase and where do I consume the items? So let's just have another idea. Let me tell you, I'm going to as well transfer from the east to the main warehouse. It happens that this item is only being sold in the east. The main warehouse is in the center of the country. Actually, I'm in the United States in this demo, and my company, sorry for not mentioning it, is in Florida, okay, Miami actually. So what happens when my east warehouse, okay, is in the east. This is very large, but my main warehouse is in the center of the United States, okay, maybe in Texas or Arizona or something like that. And then, well, what happened when I need to better transfer the item if I'm not going to purchase, well, from one store to the other or from the central warehouse to other warehouse. I need to create the stock keeping unit, okay? So once again, the create stock keeping unit concept is going to tell me in which warehouse you desire to create another way of handling these items, okay? So in this case, it will be for the main warehouse, and okay, the stock keeping unit list is just going to be now increased by one single row for the main warehouse. And for this specific stock keeping unit, I'm going to indicate that I will be transferring this item, the Coca-Cola, into the main into the main warehouse, right? But I need to explain that I will be transferring from one specific warehouse that will be the east. Let me just look for the transfer option, transfer from code, east warehouse, okay? Oh, and this is telling me that I need to specify, very good. This will be the last setup you need to do, okay? Now this is the transfer route. Transfer routes are just indications. Oh, let me just verify. Transfer routes. Transfer routes, very good. Here we're going to indicate from where we can actually transfer in this matrix. Look at this, from the main warehouse and the east warehouse, okay? I need to select where and how to transfer. Okay, if I'm going to transfer from the east to the main warehouse, look at this. This is what was my indication. I purchased in the east warehouse, and then I will be transferring to the main warehouse. That was the idea. And I need to start mapping these small configurations so I can map inside my whenever I need to transfer. And this is only for multi-site warehousing, okay? Don't scare because of this. You might be thinking, oh, but I need to now start configuring all my items, okay? Now, the idea of the east and main and the transfer road specification is just tell business central. From the east to the main warehouse, I'm going to use my own logistics, okay? But in any case, you could use outsourced logistics. And for me, I will be using, let's say, Federal Express. This is a logistic company. I believe that all of we know it. Or otherwise, another ones will be DHL or this type of deliveries, right? Or even you could say Amazon, you know, something like that. But the idea is, this is not specifically that we, even though, by the way, we have integrations with FedEx and other important suppliers, so you could track your actual package, okay? But in this example, the idea for now is just to at least indicate the delivery shipping time. Very important, okay? Now, I'm going to use select, okay, the standard is for 2 days because this is cheaper normally, okay? So that's the standard. but the user is going to be able to change it while purchasing. All right. So we need to just specify at this point how we actually where I purchase and from where I transfer to the destination where I actually sell. So that's the idea. Okay. So this is the stock keeping unit concept, and you could even change other features like, okay, the lead time calculation, maybe the vendor in this, well, in this case, the vendor won't be important because I won't be purchasing in this warehouse, but transferring from another one. Okay, so now I can now specify with the transfer route now specified that I will be using FedEx, the standard a procedure that takes 2 days. Okay, now this is completed. Very good. Now, what I will be doing now that I have understood this part, I will be now working with the policies. And let me now explain. Okay, I have for every item the reordering policy where I have fixed, maximum, order, and lot for lot. This is what I'm going to explain now in a moment. But first, in order to avoid just going with explanation and explanation, and we just start forgetting concepts, remember, I came and configure my items with 2 types at least as an example, right? Just to start learning, right? The Coca-Cola and operational item. Now we need to know that for expiration dates or this type of item, we use tracking numbers, we use the lot numbers. And for both type of items or group of items, we have inserted the specific type of unit of measures, okay? These are the 2 things that you need to learn to configure. Then we learn a third concept, that is the stock keeping unit. The stock keeping unit might help me to have a complete management of where I purchase and where I transfer, okay? So we start, if we want to learn to replenish with our star items, okay? You will need to make an analysis on your side or use our Power BI or BI intelligent reports. We offer that to you if you want to use them, that are a repository reports as an example, right? That will help us to understand which items are being sold the most. Let me give you an example just as a bonus for the webinar, where we actually get information for replenishment. As an example, right? But this might be as complex or easy as you need, but let me just explain you sometimes that how am I be then working. I'm just going to open, and please let me know if you have any doubt. I'm going to open one inventory report and explain you what I would normally do whenever we implement. A second. To look for my report page. 1 second, please. This is valuable information. So the dedication would be, I have plenty of different demo environments, believe me, that I sometimes need to follow up and update. But for the webinar, okay, I'm going to show you information for, this doesn't have information for a stores, a supermarket. Then I know that you love and you would like to have a replenishment procedure in the supermarket with all your departments, type of items that is super complicated. Other type of sectors like manufacturing will be focusing more only on the ingredients or raw materials, all right? Okay, while this opens, let me just open the requisition worksheet. Meanwhile, this will be as well important to see. Okay, my reports are here. Sorry, I'm working now with different environments now, right? That takes some RAM from my computer. But look at this. You need to verify, for instance, the store performance, the store growth, just as an example, where I just might use the analysis by category, okay? What you need to do always. So I have the quantities that I sell and the margin of the items that I sell, okay? In this type of analysis of the portfolio of my items, I might have items that sell a lot in volume, but that are giving me low margin, okay? So that's good. And you have plenty of items that might give you a lot of margin, but you don't sell enough, okay? But the idea is that when you do this type of portfolio analysis, you might have in the first sector, in the top, in the right, items that you sell a lot, okay? These type of items are the ones that we want to always replenish. You could all as well verify the basket value. This is then the type of items that I sell the most, okay, that I might have in a basket analysis or a product mix that I call in this example recycling. One of my stores is selling a lot this type of item, and then once I have verified the item, I would like to check the history of only this basket, only the star items that I sell a lot. Very good. So with this, you get a general idea of what you need to do at any moment, right? Now, another type of analysis that I review by store or by warehouse, look at the total sales of the store or the location. Look at this, 1 million, and the margin is here, right? So the net sales in millions, okay? Now, you need to understand, classify them by sales, what items you are selling and giving you more value as well. And then look at this, the main, the sandwich, and the drinks, for me, are giving me a lot of sales, okay? The 3-star items. Very good, but this is an analysis by category, all right? But you might then be able to drill down into those categories and verify the items, okay? So this is the deal, the receipt. So I have fries, large fries, biscuit, okay? Look at this. This is the basket analysis of some items that I sell that even they might be linked, okay, when I sell them. So verify, make this type of analysis, and then look at your inventory. Super important to start learning these variables I'm going to now explain. I have my analysis of the value of the item in my company. That's good. I have the inventory value. You are now capable with Business Central to calculate that with the inventory valuation report. And then I have some other, like the purchases and the quantity sold. Let's take a look at this type of out of stock days, items that I'm not selling, okay? You, first of all, check those items that you have out of stock days. How to do that? The inventory details analysis can explain me that. Remember, this is BI analysis, but I want to at least explain you to understand, to start introducing the replenishment procedures, how we might normally do, okay? So I have now the items that might be out of stock, okay? So I have all these items. I have a list of items. Now, that have a value, of course, and the percentage and the closing inventory, the items when I just counted, at least at the end. Well, we are focusing now on some specific items after I saw what are my star items that I sell the most and give me more profit. After that, let's verify by location, not by company, those specific items one by one or by basket. That this will be the basket of the star items. Now let's review and let's start filtering the turnover variable. What is the turnover? Well, the turnover is basically how many times I have purchased and then I sold that specific quantity of items, basically. And well, that a cycle is being accomplished when I sold my items, okay? So the top items that I sell the most, and then I just purchase and sell, purchase and sell, purchase and sell. Look at this item, R64. I purchased and sold the items 5 times in one specific period. What was the period? Well, just for the demo from February to June, excuse me, okay? So I think it's a good turnover. For me, well, that depends on the type of item, but that will be super interesting to analyze. Okay, not only the value, not only the best items, but hey, let's continue to sell these items that are super fast, and as well, how do I work and where I should locate these items, maybe near my customers, right? Why not to increase this turnover ratio by placing these items near the picking and shipping area in your warehouses and so on. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. First, look at the profitable items and locate the fastest items near the shipping area, if that's possible, all right? I know that the warehousing for any company is super difficult, and we don't always have WMS with this super large investment in a organization with forklifts, shelves, and blah, blah, blah. But at least if you want to start working with replenishing, work with this specific basket of items. I strongly recommend that, and start organizing your warehouses. Now, we don't have yet going to the real replenishment procedures or configuration, okay? These are just suggestions or bonuses. Now, if I have suggested that first I configure my items, how I purchase, how I provision with transfers, blah, blah, blah. And I have shown you that I have a requisition worksheet plan somehow located in somewhere in Business Central, right? So this is where is the magic, where Noé is going to show me what the system does. And here I have the requisition worksheet, okay, for that specific date. And look at the process. Here I have the calculate plan function. Here in the requisition worksheet is where I'm going to see all the lines that I will be requesting, or the items, material, raw material, any item that I want to replenish in my store is going to be here. Look at the options. I have all these lines. Look at that, I have many items, sirloin, pepperoni pizza, and all of these ingredients, right? And some medicines that I sell. Now, the quantity, the unit of measure, remember that's super important. That's why I'm specifying that specific configuration. And here, most importantly, how am I going to replenish? Remember that we can specify, and we know now when we can say purchase, production, transfer, or assembly. You remember that? That's in the item card. Very good. And look at this. The action message is telling me to create a new purchase or cancel a purchase. Why? Why are you canceling it? Okay, so somebody apparently purchased 100 packages. Okay, maybe this person is a purchaser that was maybe making a great deal, something like that. If you purchase 100 packages of tomato, I'm going to give you a super offer, okay, something like that. But it happens that is completely wrong. And for now, I can only handle 70 kilograms. Okay, let's say that this should be in one of the warehouses. Let's say it's in the main warehouse. I know that it's in the main warehouse, but I can only handle 70 kilograms for now. And we would like to verify how these quantities were calculated. This is going to leave, I'm going to leave that for the end, okay? But here I have the options to create a new purchase, a new transfer, a new production order. And first, the requisition worksheet is going to help me to create a new one or to cancel it, or this is specific updates for already created purchase where I would only change or reschedule the order for another date. Okay, so once I have this line, look at the vendor numbers. I might also need to input here information about the vendors, if that allows me. Sometimes you're not going to be, by the way, allowed to do so, because that might be then a restrictive, it's a configuration. But for now, the idea is that you have all your items, how you replenish either for purchase or transfer in this example, but you could be manufacturing, and the vendor item that is just included here. Now we have another worksheet that we call the planification or the planning worksheet. Okay, two types of worksheet with the same idea, but this is now for manufacturing, okay, only for manufacturing. Two types of worksheets, remember, that we use works for the same, they work for the same and in the same way, but they are done for different type of modules, because this is going to read now the raw materials that I need for a manufacturing, and here I don't see a sales order by sales order. What I review here is how many batches I need to produce for one specific period of time, okay? And basically, I have in my manufacturing module, the manufacturing manager has decided that I would like to look at this maximum inventory. Okay, I have one warning, but very good. The idea is that all these items are as well manufacturing. Okay, attention, exception. Here, I'm going to cancel, create, new, cancel. All of this is super complex. Okay, well, this could give me purchasing, assembly. So in one single page, I could be just separating all including everything. I mean, in the planning worksheet is more powerful because here, look at this. I have the assembly requirement, okay? This is a planification to then assembly. You remember that I went to the Ciron. Well, the Ciron is an item that I purchased the hundreds of kilograms or a cow or something like that, you know, and then I just slice and dice and sell steaks of sirloin, as an example, right? And then for that, I have in my supermarket the assembly order that is now going to be planified, okay? This is not now neither a manufacturing or warehousing webinar, but focusing on the planning worksheets that I have, okay? If you have further assistance for this type of procedures, please let us know. We are going to be more than happy to give you a demo. If you want to manufacture, assembly, kitting, that's also very helpful for any type of industry. You can kit your items in combos and sell them and assemble it automatically and sell a finished product that is a combination of items. Okay, that's basically lean manufacturing. If it's complex, you might require a bill of materials, formulation, and for that type of complex procedures, then we have the manufacturing module. Okay, and well, this is then connected to the planning worksheet. Okay, and as you saw, it's different from the requisition worksheet, where I look at this is now empty, correct? And this is now because I use the planification worksheet instead. Okay, but you decide what to do according what you are using in your company, and then you can use any of them to start replenishing. Okay, now that was the explanation of the worksheets where we work, but I need to continue explaining now the plan policies. What is that and how do we use them? Because at some point we are going to use Business Central to tell us how much we need to either purchase or manufacturing and so on. Okay, so let me come back to my presentation today and I'm going to show you. Let me just move from here. Okay, sorry, somehow my screen failed to share and I need to reshare this. Okay, great. Let's go there and I'm just going to start sharing the policies. Okay, let's go. Fixed reorder quantity. We use a fixed reorder quantity for inventory planning, specify the fixed reorder quantity policy. Okay, we have a reorder policy field, and we have two specific aspects. The reorder point. The reorder point specifies the quantity which is the trigger for reordering an item. If you're projected available inventory hits or drops below the reorder point, Business Central will suggest planning in line with the quantity where the one specified in the reorder quantity field is identical. And the reorder quantity, specify the standard lot size quantity to be used for all order proposals. When do we use fixed reorder quantity and how? If you are experienced with some items that, let's say, you have constant sales. Let's talk about the supermarket, your fruits, okay? By saying that you always say bananas, okay? I believe I have heard that type of item, or the white shirt, or the black shoes, or the black cell phone, all right? We have items that we know that we are going to be selling yes or yes. And then with the fixed order quantity, we might measure, right, in the shelves and in the stores or in your warehouses, the units that should always yes or yes you should have. Okay, and this is how we use the fixed reorder quantity and the reorder with the reorder point, and then the reorder quantity. You need to speak to your vendor, all right, that they can be prepared, and if they prepare with a lot size of how much you might be purchasing, maybe on a weekly basis, all right. So unless you say you might need to, if your reorder point, let's say something is 100. And your reorder quantity might be 10. You can speak with the vendor. Okay, I would like to have this new system for replenishing. I need help from you. I purchase these items always from you, maybe. Well, the idea is that you can provide me the lot that I require, give me a better unit cost, or for the lot that I always purchase, and you specify the reorder quantity that you might always purchase, if that's possible. So let's say that we run the replenishing process on every week on Fridays. So we purchase and we get the items for the following week, let's say, okay? Or at least for perishable items, I purchase today, and let's say Fridays and Sunday, I will be having my items, so I can start selling on Monday. Very good. Specify the reorder quantity, make the negotiations, and the reorder point, just to adjust how much you need to have, yes or yes. And if the threshold goes below, start reordering according to the reorder quantity, okay? For those items that you know that you always will be selling and that are quite constant, a constant behavior. Maximum quantity, somehow the same. But in this example, the fixed reorder quantity will be working with only the maximum quantity variable, okay? So in this example, if we go below 100, I'm going to use the same 100 inventory level for all examples. If I have some, let's say I only sold 10, okay? So if my maximum inventory is 100 and I have, let's say, 90 units, I will be ordering only 10 units in order to reach the maximum quantity only, okay? So this is super easy. So this is going to check the maximum inventory threshold, correct? Nothing else. Once this is then specified, Business Central is every time you go and run the replenishing worksheet, is going to come and order only the items that you need to actually keep the maximum inventory value. So this is easy as how many units you need? 100. Very good. No matter what, no matter how many units we sell, but when we run the replenishing worksheet and calculate inventory function, we're gonna get once again the maximum inventory, and I'm going to purchase only the remaining units that I need to reach this maximum quantity value. Okay, it's very useful as well for those items that I know that I will be always needing. Okay, so if you work with electronics or hardware, okay, and this Office Depot type of stores, well, normally we'll be using for some tools for, let's say, for paintings, the white and the black painting. What else? Furniture. I'm always going to be using wood as a raw material. Okay, so this is like these items that I will be using for many aspects Okay, meat, you always in the supermarket, you produce it, but in your produce department, okay, the beef meat, you are going to use it to assembly, let's say 10 different type of items, okay? So the steaks, the ribs, for something like that, for beef, so I purchase the beef, 1 unit of beef, how many units you are going to able to handle? Okay, maybe in my fridge I will be using 3 cows or something, right? Just to think of the idea, but this is real how maximum inventory is used. Sorry. I need to handle these items that I use, especially for manufacturing, and that will be my raw material always. And it's super important for me to have it. So that's maximum quality, just as an example. Now, lot for lot, if you want to apply items that typically are part of your regular inventory, use lot for lot. Reorder policy, okay? With the lot for lot reordering policy, reordering is triggered by demand, which can be, for example, by sales demand. So what do we have with lot for lot? What's the idea? Okay, I already know that I have the idea of the inventory levels that we have explained. Once again, we have two. Okay, maximum inventory, and the first one where we're going to have the fixed reorder quantity. Differentiated, excuse me, by the type of item. First, with the maximum inventory, this type of items that I need to have, otherwise it could impact a lot. That's the maximum inventory. And then as well, we have the reorder point where I might need to, yes, have the item, but this could go quite low because the item need to be there. I'm just going to take care of never reach the zero inventory point, all right? And then I will be purchasing then one specific lot size or quantities to my vendors, okay? And this will be different with the maximum inventory, because let's imagine that the maximum inventory goes so very low, okay? Well, maybe I won't have never capacity with half of the items that I have to complete a manufacturing process, okay? So you might have yes or yes, the maximum inventory always, right? So that's inventory levels, but what happened with that's not specifically what I want to do. Lot for lot is ideal for you. This is very standard procedure. This is what we normally implement for the majority of items, because we might then need to require only to sell, to purchase what I'm selling for a specific bucket time, okay? Maybe on a monthly or every 2 to 3 weeks, all right? So I need to verify the sales orders that I have sold, the inventory levels, blah, 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 if necessary. But with the lot for lot idea, the only thing that I need to review is the lot accumulation period field. Look at the image. I have just the lot for lot parameters policy are required to fill the lot accumulation period. What I want to do this is look at 2 weeks of demand, okay, of demand. So let's verify how many units I will be selling and I have sold, all right, in combination. So I can then request the items that I need to satisfy the demand, okay, or the customer's demand, basically coming from sales orders, okay. And this is then the lot for lot idea. But not only that, but maybe as well how manufacturing batches I'm going to produce. The lot for lot is ideal when you have experience and you know how to planify. So your salespeople is going with the customers, and in advance they are telling how many units I should be selling in the next month. Okay, so you have your salespeople is organized and speaking with the customers, so they can, if possible, place the order in advance. Okay, that would be really helpful. So we can then have better negotiations with them and tell them, I am going to supply you on a regular basis with a good sales price, but you need to start purchasing me every 2 weeks, as an example. Okay, so we offer our best, and we, by using the replenishment system as well, the cost will be then going down. Okay, so that's a lot for lot. And the same happens with manufacturing. you now speak and you don't produce always at the end, but you planify maybe with 1 month or 2 weeks in advance, you're manufacturing a batch to produce for this specific period of time, and then we use lot for the finished product, and the raw materials will be supplied by the replenishing system for that planification. So we are saying that you could continue purchasing with your own ideas and structure and with your Excels and blah, 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 any item, but those items that now you have experience, take the historical information, those items that the turnover is so fast enough that maybe you sell the same item 5 times the inventorable days, 5 twice or twice a month, you complete the turnover, and then, well, of course, I will be having demand for those items. Why not to go with the customers and offer a bucket, a deal for according to sales demand, and you can even show figures. Okay, I have seen that you purchase for me this amount of items. I'm going to then offer a better price if we planify in advance. Okay, just as an example. So that's lot for lot. And the last thing is the order policy. Okay, so when you just like lot for lot, you use the reorder policy for items that typically aren't part of your regular inventory. So let me think. In electronics, even in supermarkets, sometimes you sell electronics, all right? But let's think of an item that you don't always sell, a fridge. A fridge is a big item that a family just purchased once, and this is not like, okay, maybe I sell every weekend, and this the refrigerators is never from as an example. I am thinking. It's not maybe the item that I sell the most all the time, but I sell yes or yes, and it's a good item. But just to have it in mind, what I want to do is every time I sell something, well, just replenish it, just replenish what I'm selling. And this is the order policy, okay? So whenever you have an order placed for an item and you sell it, then just we're going to replenish exactly the same, okay? So that's the idea. Once we get into that, we need just a dampener period that specifies a period during which you don't want the planning system to propose rescheduling existing supply orders to a future date. So if I have created an order for my refrigerators, then I need to input a dampener period, let's say for 1 week as an example, so I don't continue ordering and ordering. Verify that there are items already. Don't start just ordering just because I have an order. If I have the item, if I don't want a proposition to reschedule items that might already be ordered already. Okay, so we need to insert that when we use this ordering policy. Okay, we can provide demos, of course, if you want to go further. This is just the basics. And we know that whenever we start learning something, the first that we have is more doubts. Okay, so let's just go and verify the planning worksheet. And let's see some items that I will be purchasing to verify the policies and what I'm just ordering. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, I'm ordering, say, 1,000 units of the vitamin item. Oh, very good. So I think that I should review why this item with 1,000 is the item that I'm selling the most. Okay, and look at this. I have tomato that the original it was canceled, and then for the same tomato, I cancel all these 300. 100, and instead I should be purchasing only 70. Why have you decreased? Okay, that's something that I also would like to see. Let's verify, for instance, this item. So for now, I will check the tomato item card, and I'm just going to open it just to finish this webinar. Will be the last explanation, so you can verify as well. And my tomato has the kilogram based unit of measure. But remember the stock keeping unit concept. I need to just verify. I would like to to check the stockkeeping unit configuration. There are no stockkeeping units, so I'm just maybe working centrally. And yes, I'm purchasing, all right, from this, take 1 day to supply, and I'm purchasing from the vendor that is called Wildwood Importers. Very good. Here is TM999, the item number, the vendor item number. But for me, the reorder point is 50, okay? If I go below 50, because I don't want to have more than 50, remember that? Okay, so now you get this. The reorder quantity will be 70, okay? So you saw that a person tried to order 300 units before, maybe in another purchase order, in this example, that will be canceled. That was canceled by this. Why? Because first of all, I can shoot, and I will be handling the reorder point only below 50. I cannot handle more than 50, similar to maximum inventory, similar. But in this example, I'm only capable of handling the reorder quantity 70. So my maximum inventory is not 50, okay? It's not 50, it's 70, okay? But if you go below 50, because I always need to have tomatoes, reorder again. Okay, so I might be ordering between 50 and 70 units again. Well, 70, because that's it, the quantity that with the vendor negotiation, he can provide me to have a better price. And I'm going to start selling until I reach my reorder point threshold. Okay, very easy now to understand. So I'm going to continue ordering, and I will be flowing in my inventory level below 50 until 70. Okay, so according to my experience, I should have on the shelves where I sell the tomato, and I always know that I sell it. And I know with my experience that according to the size and how much I'm selling, I don't want to have 300 kilograms because this is a perishable item that has an expiration period of 1 week. Very good. But I know that I should be selling some items, right? So let's say that I always sell half of 35 kilograms, okay? So what I really want, if I know that I sell 35 kilograms, okay, so let's go a little bit above the average sales. Instead of 35 that I always know that in average that I sell, let's go a little bit above, and the reorder point should be always a little bit above the average, okay, sales amount. So that's why this is more for items that I oftenly sell. So by month, you might have different averages, just as an example, and let's just specify the reorder point above that average, and then the reorder quantity as well will be then a little bit higher. So I will be selling until I get the average and then start reordering. So below, so I will be reordering when I get the average or a little bit lower, and immediately I'm going to start ordering again. So this is like a bandwidth, okay? But you can see that then with this configuration, then one of my items was canceled, some purchases were canceled, and then I'm going to start requesting tomato with the right quantity that I can handle, okay? Just as an idea. Now, the replenishing line could be refreshed at any moment. Remember that. So this is not only for ordering without understanding specifically what's going on. All right. So you could as well track here. Sorry, I don't have a lot number, but this is super important. You could actually verify the lot number for these 70 units as one single lot. And if you remember, I told you that you are able to use lot numbers, correct? So you should be able to see here which lot you might be purchasing and the tracked quantity you are going to be able to assign Well, you have the reorder point and the reorder quantity and the attention, okay? This is before the work date, blah, blah, blah. And then you are going to be able to as well track if necessary. Let's say that if you transfer from one warehouse to another, but do I have enough time to sell this item that I'm transferring? Is that okay? Or where should I put the item? Okay, we need to track the expiration date always, from the purchase to the transfer, all right? And then I have here another, just to finalize the webinar, 1,000 units to create a new purchase order. Let's just verify this item, okay? I'm just going to just review how this was configured. So I have the vitamin C item, and from what I see, I have a purchase. This is this is just a purchase for 4,000. Okay, for the vendor for 1,000. But I would like to see now the stock keeping units, the list, just to verify. Oof, I have plenty of information. First of all, I'm going to be able to purchase in the main warehouse, and then I transfer to the west. But for now, if I take a look at the stock keeping unit for the main warehouse, the maximum inventory is 2,000. Okay, so this is how much I can handle in that warehouse at most. So what's going on? This is telling me to purchase 1,000. Okay, what happened here? Okay, I can handle 2,000 of maximum inventory in that warehouse at least. And then if I verify others, well, maximum inventory as well. Okay, so this item, I should have it, yes or yes. That's why I'm using maximum inventory, because this is only about, if I go below 1,000 units, please, this is the easiest one to use. Please purchase. I will purchase again this item. It's very important. So I always have 1,000. Okay, very good. Not complicated, and this is the way I can then just continue to work with those items, because I use this in manufacturing, and well, this might be very important for me to define that this item I should have it yes or yes. Okay, so this is why in 2 warehouses I have 1,000 units to cover. Okay, so let's just verify. This is telling me with maximum inventory, because I might not have, maybe, let's say, the new in the vitamin transfer this item. Okay, and let me just include some other fields. Okay, the transfer from code, transfer shipment date also is important, because my people is going to start working on that. Very good. If you want to use a replenishment, no, that's fine for now. Okay, and planning flexibility. Remember, we have that, and location code. Just that. Just to explain for the first time, we need to now learn how to read the lines. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that I will be basically transferring from one warehouse, from the main, look at this, transfer from code, okay, the vitamin, and we need to make a transfer order to the, oh, I inserted the field, where is it? To the west, to the location code west. So Business Central knows now not only from where I need to purchase, look at this, from the main warehouse, I already have 2,000. I already checked that I have more than I can handle in that warehouse, okay? Because that's the requirement. I have 2 warehouses, and every warehouse needs 1,000 items. But I purchase in the main warehouse. What I'm saying here is that I just cannot have only the purchase and just leave the item there. But the idea here is that I also will be transferring, because the capacity of that warehouse is not enough just to handle all that inventory. What I need to do is just transfer from one warehouse once I have reached the point, the maximum inventory level, remember the maximum inventory level is already reached. So that those items will be immediately transferred. And whenever I run the planification worksheet or the requisition worksheet, immediately this is going to now cancel or transfer or is going to or create new purchases. Okay, so in this case, that's what it has just immediately done. And at last but not least, I just wanted to explain the planet for the assembly item. Okay, this hasn't been explained yet, but I want to go with the zero. The zero item, if I just verify the configuration for that item, just to finish now, I'm just going to assemble the cow, the raw material that will be the zero, and then I slice and dice and just offer different type of products. But I need this item, yes or yes, no matter what. But I use it because I assemble, and in order I purchase a cow and I assemble steaks. So the replenishing system is assembly. Okay, that will be differentiated. Is it purchase, production, or assembly order? So I purchase the beef, and then I will be handling the fixed reorder quantity. Okay, so I always have 1 or 50. Okay, reorder quantity as well, and I should be then assembling. Okay, always my team in the supermarket in the meat area is slicing and dicing this meat in order to always have 50 let me tell you, kilograms, yes, kilograms of a packaged meat in the different trails, all right? So you package it, or maybe bags, or I don't know, boxes, however you want to manufacture this item or package it and start selling it, okay? So that this is not coming from the demand that we have specified, which is inventory levels, but the assembly department. They are telling you, they know how much they sell. They know how much kilograms, how many units they need to produce. And for that, we might need to purchase the actual sirloin to then sell sirloin. But this could be the assembly or manufacturing, let me tell you. We specify the bill of materials. Just to finish, we have production bumps. Let me just verify. Oh, no, we don't have. The bill of materials are going to help me to actually identify items that I will be just let me just assembly bomb. Just going to verify, and I'm just going to need, okay, for this, I'm going to need my sirloin, but sorry, I need to specify that I need a trail, plastic, maybe, well, the beef meat is the ingredient to prepare sirloin, and I need to purchase. So here I need to, in order to prepare one steak is 0.2 kilograms of beef meat. And then look at this, I'm going to include a resource that will be preparing this, which is Linda Martin. And for this, every hour that she works, this is going to be charged for $30 the hour, all right? So whenever the assembly wants to produce all the many kilograms to sell, well, I'm going to use beef meat, all right? Beef meat that will be used to prepare kilograms of sirloin at the end. That's the idea. I have raw material that will be then used to then get a finished product, and then the finished product will be used in my replenishing system to then specify the reorder quantity, okay? And that's it. Basically, the other ones are easier to understand. Is order or lot for lot. So order is if you place a sales order selling this item, then you sell it, and then we are going to then purchase exactly the same. And lot for lot, you might have manufacturing and sales orders at the same time. But what we want is just to satisfy the demand from the manufacturing and the sales orders at the same time for a specific period in the future. So if I specify lot for lot, okay, you would need the lot accumulation period. So how many days or weeks you want to verify as a scope right? So this might be, let's say 2 weeks, okay? Verify 2 weeks, check all the sales orders, check all the manufacturing orders or production orders that I need to then replenish for the called demand. And then with this, then the replenishing system is going to start ordering. But I cannot show you that through the configuration in the items unless I just create a new sales order or new manufacturing plan. And then this is just going to give me the quantities that I need to purchase to satisfy just that. But that depends on the planification. Once again, the planification, and this is when I'm going to use lot for lot or order by order. Okay, so that's it for today. It's just some introduction to planification. This is just let's say the variables that we are going to be using. We are not yet learning the whole replenishing procedures. For that, we would like to offer a secondary analysis that we might help you to do for your items with our BI procedures that we might apply with some specific reports, so you can learn what to replenish, when to replenish, or with your own experiences. Will be very, very important that we verify your sales history. Very, very important. Remember that that's gold in this world of the replenishment on logistics, right? And then if you have that, start classifying, like I showed you some examples, right? But at least you now know the variables in Business Central that we use. We need to use the item design with the replenishing features. You now know the policies, the unit of measures, and so on, right? And then we need to indicate, well, where are the units, where are the warehouses that I need to replenish, either we're purchasing or transfer, right? And remember, we have two special worksheets: the purchasing requisition for your purchasing team, and the planning worksheet is helpful for the manufacturing, okay? Reviewing the planning for the manufacturing process to complete some batches. And then this is managed separately. Why? Because at some point we want to replenish all the items that we manufacture, because if you don't have maybe one ingredient or for your recipe or for your formula as an example, then you're not going to be able to complete the batch. That's why we separate everything whenever we speak about manufacturing, right? So with that, we finish our today introduction for the planning. This is all for today. Next week we're gonna, if there are no doubts, well, we're just going to explain that we are going to continue to verify some planning tools that we can use. Okay, first of all, we have Cortana. We have had some sessions and introductory sessions to use of artificial intelligence in Business Central. But in the following weeks, I'm going to go in depth with the use of artificial intelligence. It's a very interesting topic. So I strongly recommend if you want to continue learning. And then as well, I will be in the future working with another tool that is the replenishing module from LS Retail, for those of you who have stores, okay, where we are going to run with more variables like seasonality, allocation per stores. You have variables in the fashion industry with color, size, so how to replenish with those variables. And it has more automations, okay? So we start with the basics, and here you can find me, and if you want to write me a message or a suggestions, or if you want to see some specific topic, well, please write me at Noe, this is my email, noe.wellman@optimus.guru. Okay, so please contact me whenever you need. I can also provide some materials, answer your questions, and like every Thursday, I also wish you a very good day, a great weekend, and see you next time, next Thursday, with a different topic. Thank you very much for your time, and see you next week.